So today we're going to be polishing the Australian 150-year-old cedar chest of drawers. At first we're just going to mix up some shellac. Now we've just got the raw flakes here, the shellac flakes, and we're adding alcohol just to cover all the flakes, and we will leave that set for a few hours until it's all dissolved. Just got to make sure that we cover it totally. Now we are going to brush 2 coats onto the chest. Now there is previous videos where you can see that we stripped all the paint off this chest, and we haven't used any sandpaper at all. We have the original colour that was underneath the paint, which we have managed to save. Now we are going to add 2 coats, and then we are going to cut back the 2 coats, and then we'll go for another coat, so that will be 3 coats that we will try and get away with. Now this cedar is more of an orange colour than the red or the purple colour cedar. The orange cedar tends to come more inland, it's grown more inland, and the red of the cedar is more for the rainforest. So this was sourced more inland, so it is a country piece. The sides are just one slab of cedar, big wide boards. There is no veneer at all in this chest. And we're just going to start filling the grain with shellac. It's just soaking it straight in at the moment. Now because shellac is mixed with alcohol, the alcohol does evaporate quite quickly, so the shellac will dry, touch dry anyway, within 15 to 20 minutes, but we like to leave it for 24 hours before we cut it back. Same with the drawers. Again, this is the original colour. When they painted this chest, they painted over the old polish, which was fortunate for us. Again, the playlist will be in the description if you want to go back and see how we stripped all the paint off the chest. And all the drawers were painted on the inside as well. Baby pink. And the outside was painted baby blue. So I would say that somebody had a boy and they painted it blue for his bedroom, and then they had a girl and they just painted the inside of the drawers pink. That's what I think anyway. But it did seem a shame to paint such a beautiful piece. Now we have 2 coats on everything now, and we will leave that until the next day. Just let the shellac go hard. And now we're using some 240 grit with an orbital sander, and we're just very lightly skimming over the top to make sure that we don't cut through into the timber. We just want to remove that top surface of shellac. And we're also getting the sides nice and flat as well. So what is left is the shellac that is in the grain. Now this country cedar, it is a very, very coarse grain. It takes a lot of filling. In fact, it's probably one of the worst timbers to try to fill the grain. Now we've got some 0 grade steel wool that we're just going to burnish back. And just get this side nice and smooth. And then we'll be adding another coat. Now that cross banding at the top, you can see that that is more of a redder coloured cedar. That's more of the rainforest cedar that they've used in the banding. And again, some 240 grit will just smooth out these turn feet. Just taking off the top surface of the shellac to make sure that we do not cut through into that timber. And again, the 0 grade steel wool. My little helper is in the way, and she doesn't want to move. But the sander will do the job. Now again with the top, after I just got a mouthful of dust, this again is just one big wide board of solid cedar. Just a big wide slab. Again, we just want to get it nice and flat without cutting through into the timber. And she's back again. So we're just smoothing out again. Do this by touch. You can get a feel for the grain, that it's where it's filled and where it hasn't. And the top section of the cross banding here we replaced, and we used 100-year-old cedar. You can see that in one of the previous videos as well. Just smooth out these drawers. Now you can take out those brass escutcheons, but we just prefer to leave them in because they can cause problems with wood splitting. But if you do want to take them out, you just get a screwdriver and you just keep turning them. They're not on a thread and they are like caught in the wood. That's why we just tend to leave them in. It has been very, very humid when we were polishing this chest as well, and we've had a lot of rain, and it's taken a lot longer to finish this than we thought it was going to take. So we're just putting on the last coat here at night time. Then we will just burnish back again, and then we'll get ready for the wax. And you can see the old facet head nails in the turn feet there. And the ribbon cedar on the side, which is from an old growth tree. Looks like flames. Again, just one big wide board. And the same with the top. That's just one piece of solid cedar. The cross banding that we replaced. And then the last coat on the other side as well. It is a bit dark, so we're losing video quality a bit here. Now the knobs, unfortunately, were not cedar. They were made of pine, and they're not a very nice colour at all, and they won't blend in with the cedar. So we are going to stain the knobs with a spirit stain. Now I use rosewood and walnut mixed together in my spirit stains. But first we've just got to get all the ochre off these pine knobs. So they had a red ochre on the knobs when they were originally made. But we'll darken these up with the spirit stain. Now I have put on some gloves here. You do not want to get spirit stain on your fingers unless you want it to be on there for a few weeks. You just cannot get it out or wash it out at all. But it will absorb into that pine, and when it dries it will give us a colour that is very similar to the cross banding at the top. Again, we've been doing this again at night time. We've had 35-degree days and it's just been so hot to try and work during the day. And even at night time it's been 28 degrees and 80% humidity. Which is not great weather for polishing when you've got a lot of humidity. I think people in Florida will understand what I'm talking about. And we just wipe them down with a rag and we'll leave them overnight, and then we'll brush some shellac onto them. It is time consuming. There is 8 knobs to do, and we've got to sand them, stain them and polish them as well. Now we're just going to brush on the shellac. This is the next day again, and we will do 3 coats of shellac. Again, we will cut back with some steel wool to smooth them out. But that colour is very similar to the cross banding on the chest. Now we're just going to rub them back with some steel wool. This is the 3rd day now. We've left them for 24 hours. And you get that very nice tactile feeling to them. They're so smooth. Now we have some 4.0 grade steel wool. You can buy Liberon steel wool, which does have a wax compound made into the steel wool. It is quite expensive if you can buy it, but it is fantastic for restoration. called Liberon. I believe it's French. So that's the wax now on the knobs. They've got a nice smooth feel to them. And we're going to wax the chest as well. This is the wax that we use, but we won't film waxing the chest. We won't bore you with that. But it has given it a really nice sheen. So we started off with a painted 1880s Australian Colonial Chester drawers, and now we have the finished product. We do have it out in daylight here, so the contrast is quite strong. This chest will change colours depending on where you have it. If it was in the house, it would be a lot darker. The inside of the drawers were painted pink, and we had to strip all that paint out, which you can see in the previous video. Now we'll move the chest into another light as well, so you can have another look at it. Again, when it was painted, and now we have a beautiful antique. And even though this is the orange colour cedar, it still looks red in certain lights. It's like it's on fire. And we have somebody underneath the chest, of course, never far away. And of course, this side we had to replace all that cross-banding with 100-year-old cedar, which is also in the previous video. So that's just about it for this one. $50 on Marketplace. And now we have a beautiful colonial antique. If you like this video, please subscribe. It does help us out a lot. And we have more interesting items coming up. And we'll see you soon.